Educational and vocational guidance.
In the Philippines, guidance is said to have both accidental and incidental origin. Before 1925, guidance as movement, as it is now practiced and accepted, was unknown in the Philippines. It was only in 1932 when a psychological clinic was started by the father of guidance in the Philippines, which is Dr. Sinforoso Padilla, and which concerned itself with cases of student discipline as well as emotional, academic, and vocational problems. In November 1945, the first guidance institute was opened. The Bureau of Public Schools started to send teachers as pensionados for observation and study of guidance services abroad. In its report of 1951, Congress proposed the establishment of a functional guidance and counseling program to help students select their course, activities, occupations, friends, and future mates. In 1953, the Philippine Association of Guidance Counselors was organized in order to study the needs, interests, and potentialities of our young people and to establish a testing bureau. The most systematic guidance program in the Philippines was launched by the guidance section of the United States Veterans Administration, composed of both American and Filipino psychologists like Dr. Sinforoso Padilla, Dr. Jesus Perpenan, and Dr. Roman Tuazon.
The term educational guidance consists of two words, education and guidance. Therefore, it is essential to understand the meaning of education and guidance. The meaning of educational guidance can be best understood and explained. Educational guidance is a process of assisting the individual students to reach optimum educational development. It is a process concerned with the assistance given to pupils in their choices and adjustments with relation to schools, curriculums, courses, and school life. Educational guidance is directly concerned with the pupil. In the student's life, educational guidance is very important. The aim of educational guidance is to develop the ability of coordinating with the school environment in the pupil to create necessary awareness and sensitivity so that they may select themselves proper learning objectives, devices, and situation. Therefore, guidance is considered as an integral part of education because educational guidance is viewed in the context of child's growth.
The nature of educational guidance is stated in the following terms. First, educational guidance is administered to students. Out of the many problems that the students is often faced with, there are some that he fails to solve of his own accord, and they do not even admit of any fruitful assistance from the teachers or the parents. Solution of these problems calls for the intervention of the specialist, and this specialist is none other than the psychologist. Second, intended for educational selection. One part of the student's education consists in making a variety of selections. The first of them being the kind of college or school in which he would like to be educated. Third, rendered for adjustment in education. A student finds a peculiar atmosphere in the college, the like of which he cannot find outside, and he has to adjust himself to his atmosphere. This atmosphere is a composite of his friends, teachers, daily routine of the institution, method of teaching, curriculum, subjects taught, extracurricular programs, and others. Lastly, making education as child-centered. It is the educational guidance which makes the educational process a child-centered. The selection of courses and structural strategies are used according to the need and requirement of child. Objectives of educational guidance. assisting students in understanding the purpose and the function of the school in relation to their needs, assisting students in discovering all that the school has to offer and plan a program of studies accordingly, assisting students in discovering the strengths and weaknesses, assisting students to discover themselves, assisting students in discovering educational opportunities in the school, assisting students in the selection of courses, curriculums, and others, assisting students in developing work and study habits that enable them achieve satisfactory success in studies, assisting past students in adjusting themselves to the new environment and social life.
Functions of educational guidance or it helps young people to pursue the right type of education. It helps the smooth transition for children from home to school, from primary to secondary school, from secondary to higher education institutions, and to the world of work. It helps students to cope with examination anxiety, and it helps students to develop effective study habits. It provides students with meaningful educational experiences, and it helps to make proper educational adjustments. Pupils with specific problems like lack of relationship between ability and achievement, deficiency in school subject, faulty study habits, defective methods of learning, and poor motivation. Educational guidance helps the pupil choose educational course best suited to him. It helps pupil make educational plans consistent with his abilities, interests, and goals to select appropriate curricula and course. Lastly, the function of educational guidance is to make the learner informed about various educational opportunities and aids available for his educational growth and development. Vocational guidance has been distinct by the Nationalized Vocational Guidance Organization as the process of assisting an individual to choose an occupation, prepares for, enter upon, and process in it. Scope of education can be defined as the ace of use of the similar forms of education, actions, and conditions of different educational environments, the heart of the study of awareness, or the form of imparting education.
Now let's talk about the principle of vocational guidance. So we have learned that there were four main introduced principles of vocational guidance. The first one is client-centered. The word itself defines and focuses on or making our clients as the center of the program in which client choose what career he likes to have. The second one is personal principle. When we say personal, it undergoes training. Thus, they were able to identify or determine facts or informations of his clients. The third one is organization-centered. It means to follow what organizations requires to do, and it shows responsiveness to the organization. Lastly, we have general public principle where public was involved. The principle of this guidance should be objective and must be based on, shall we say, facts. And the second is the approach should be persuasive and no point force should be used. And the third one is the candidate should be informed about the alternative jobs and the final selection of the job should be left to him. So the process of vocational guidance. So the process of vocational guidance is to assess individual to understand his abilities and limitations to accept them. According to vocational guidance is facilitative process, a service rendered to the individual to aid him in choosing and adjusting to an occupation. On the basis of the information collected, the candidate will be guided as to which job is best suited to him. In fact, Vocational guidance is needed at the school and college level. On the basis of this guidance, the students may choose whatever vocational choices they wanted to. At present, this guidance is given to sometimes by parents or by teachers, but usually it is better if it's given to some expert like psychologists.